Welcome to a review of Pokemon, the first generation. So, what can I say about Pokemon? It's the most successful RPG series of all time, with 5 generations and over 500 creatures to catch and fight with. You know, there's something terrible about that. Little children are pretty much being taught that it's a good thing to enslave animals and fight them against others for personal benefit, cockfighting style. But Pokemon appeals to more than just a younger demographic. Older players play it too because Pokemon has an incredibly wide appeal. On the surface, it can be easy for a child to pick up and play, but the secrets, breeding, strategy, and things like EV leveling means that older gamers can find a much deeper quest and a great way for some friendly competition. Except for that one friend, who uses sleep powder and recover. You know who you are. Anyway, the first season came out on the Gameboy, as the series was called Pocket Monsters in Japan, which I say is a better name. The North American versions were red and blue, released in 1998, and yellow a year later, with a closer story to the anime. There were also the faithful remakes, Fire Red and Leaf Green, released on the Game Boy Advance in 2004, but really any versions are great. The game has you starting out in Pallet Town as a 10-year-old boy, when your mom ships you out across the country alone with wild animals and crime syndicates everywhere to skip school and become a Pokemon master. Man, when I was 10, I couldn't even find the corner store. Anyway, you get to pick your first Pokemon from Professor Oak, who has the balls to ask you to travel the world catching 151 Pokemon without paying you. This is the leading scientist on Pokemon, right? But he only has 3, and 2 get taken away, and he won't even let you take the 3rd one. Have fun suffering from claustrophobia, Bulbasaur. Oak is kind of a sadist. Anyway, Oak's grandson pesters you across your journey, and serves as a really good motivator because he's always one step ahead of you, and I hated him as a kid, as I'm sure many of you did. Fortunately, you can name him something appropriate, and this is where the 8-year-old inside of you really goes off. So, what is Pokemon? Well, if you can't tell your Pokemon from your Digimon, then first of all, how the hell did you get here? Well, anyway, I'll go over it quickly. So, you go across the country and you can catch and hold up to 6 monsters, fighting other trainers' Pokemon with yours, leveling them up, and stopping in each city to kick some ass and take gym badges. The goal is to collect all 8 badges, defeat the Elite Four, and catch all 151 Pokemon to become a Pokemon Master. Oh wait, there's 4 more generations of Pokemon to catch, and with different Pokemon on each version. Better get your wallets ready. Kids, bother your parents. Well, I never really worried about catching every Pokemon, mostly because I have a life, and also, it doesn't really accomplish anything. I mean, what are you gonna do? Put that on your resume? So, how do you think you're qualified for this job?
I played a children's video game and caught all 5 generations of Pokemon.
The battle system is pretty interesting, as it really exploits the whole rock, paper, scissors thing established by games like Mega Man, and makes it a really interesting game as you have to create a balanced team of monsters in order to win, and there's a lot of strategy involved if you look deep enough. The game has random battles, but to level up well, you have to fight trainers, who you immediately have to battle if you walk straight in front of them. Well, why can't they see you from their peripherals in this Japanese game? Cause the developers thought it was fair to the players. Yes, that's it. Anyway, you can't refuse these battles, which makes no sense to me.
Let's battle! Whoa, I don't want to fight you! Too bad! You walked in front of me! Let's battle! No! I don't want to fight anyone! I'm just here to catch Pokemon! Look, man, I've been standing here for 5 weeks straight waiting for somebody to walk by! Do not take this moment from me!
Actually, if you think about it, a lot of this doesn't make sense. How can I put a whale in 1 Pokeball, but not 2 Caterpies? How does the Pokeball know it's catching a Pokemon and not a human being by accident? Why is Oak surprised that there are different Pokemon across the ocean? How is he an expert but he can't guess that? And so since there's no long distance travel or communication or even the internet, how do these people have the technology to store creatures and items in computers? But whatever, you shouldn't think too deeply about this because in the end, Pokemon is a fantasy adventure. And I would argue, it's one of those rare times that being a silent protagonist is actually good. This is your adventure, your journey. You make the decisions, and because of the variety, you'll never play the same game twice. This is one of the first RPGs I ever played, and it really got me into the genre. For most of us who grew up with Pokemon, it's incredibly nostalgic, and it still holds up today as just a great game. It's undoubtedly one of my favorites of all time, and I can still play it over and over again today. Well, I gotta tell you my quick Pokemon story before I wrap things up. So, I started with Charmander many years ago, and I couldn't beat Misty for days. Finally, on literally my 20th time, I walked into Cerulean Gym and a text box popped up and the game said that I beat Misty and got the badge. I don't understand what happened. It was the craziest glitch I've ever seen, as the Pokemon God showed mercy upon my soul. I didn't get the footage, but I swear on Charizard this happened. I could go on talking about Pokemon forever, but that's really not necessary. In conclusion, the original Pokemon generation is really nostalgic to me, and even as an older gamer, I can still appreciate it as a great RPG that's an absolute must-play. Most of you probably know the genius of Pokemon already, so I'll cut out now. See you all later, and remember, the tall grass is dangerous.